Hello, and welcome to my first Animal Crossing video in 2 years. Maybe I should explain. While I do, maybe you'd like to watch me do my dailies and get ready for my first build on this island? So back in 2023, I decided to make my relationship with this game official and post my gameplay on YouTube. Thus, Immaculate Games was born. I really loved making Animal Crossing videos and even got all the way to 8 subscribers, which, by the way, shout out to those guys. Then some things happened. Basically, I had a bunch of life changes, transitioning out of college life, moving to a new city, finding a new job, you get the gist. I just got too overwhelmed for Animal Crossing and, by extension, this channel. Now, however, I'm feeling reignited with a passion for creation. Okay, maybe that's a little dramatic, but after growing a mini following on Instagram where I show my crochet work, I have finally decided to get back into making longer form content. But I decided I was no longer in love with my channel name, and I rebranded to Crafty Crossing. I can't wait to see what I can do with this channel, even if only 8 people are watching. With all that out of the way, let me introduce you to this island. If you go back and watch my previous videos, you'll see that my island is called Ladybug. It was a city core island that I flattened and began redesigning as a fall core island. The island you're looking at right now is actually on my boyfriend's Switch, so Ladybug still exists, but I wanted to start fresh with something exciting before going back there. This island is called Fairy, and I'll give you one guess as to what my theme is. Okay, you guessed it, it's Fairy Core. I am still in the very early stages of decorating this island. I made a bit of an entrance area that connects the airport to resident services. I am really enjoying the colors and natural elements of Fairy Core so far. I also created this central waterfall feature right in the middle of the island that I'm kind of obsessed with. As you can see in my map, my river mouths sort of swirl into the center pond. Don't ask me how long it took to figure out the waterscaping. Personally, I always want to see the villagers on people's islands, so here you go. I have Poncho, Flo, Sherb, H&S, Megan, Fauna, Tia, Marina, Winnie, and Olive. The villagers I've decided to keep for sure are Fauna, Tia, and Sherb. I also wouldn't mind keeping Winnie and Marina, but I haven't decided yet. I also don't hate Olive, but she doesn't really fit the aesthetic I'm going for. Poncho, Flo, H&S, and Megan have to go, although I do love H&S. Anyways, time to move on to the speed build portion of this video. We are decorating Sherb's house. First, I asked him nicely to let me uproot his home, and he said yes. I decided to put him up on this cliff right next to the entrance path you saw earlier. I wanted Sherb's yard to be a fairy circle / rock garden, so I start by figuring out the spacing for my rocks. Then I start experimenting with my custom designs. This is my first time using a lot of my 9-tile paths, so I'm just kind of seeing how they work together and what kind of shapes look nice. A big part of this build for me is this glowing moss pond. I absolutely love the color on this one. And I also really wanted to use this gazebo item. It just looks so magical. I decided to add a picnic blanket with cushions and candles. I did eventually decide to change this later because there will be a dedicated picnic area later. It was definitely a challenge working with these huge pieces on these weirdly shaped cliffs. I really wanted the cliffs here to hug the path below, so it took some trial and error to find a shape that I wanted. You'll see me trying to make this harp work because I wanted to have a musical instrument to make it seem like Sherb is like a satyr type guy, like playing music to summon the fairies, if that makes sense. I eventually want to add the pan flute item whenever I could find it. Then I decided I needed to go ahead and move my rocks to see what it would look like all together. I used the mannequin method to move my rocks. Basically, you just place mannequins from custom designs on every third tile, so that you can fit exactly 2 dug-up holes between each mannequin. Trees and other furniture also can prevent rocks from spawning. Rocks need a 9-tile space to spawn, so if at any given spot you can dig up all 8 surrounding spaces, a rock can spawn where you're standing. As you can see, this bottom left mannequin is partially covering that last tile, so no rocks will spawn here. It's also easy to tell how far apart to place the mannequins when you're up against cliffs like this. You can see that there are 2 blocks of cliffs between each mannequin. Eventually, after a lot of time traveling, I got my rocks to work. I decided to actually put the moss pond in the center of the rocks, and I think that looks really cool. I placed some custom designs beneath the gazebo and moved this tree closer to Sherb's house. Then, I decided to rearrange the garden, which might be silly, but I think it looks much cuter this way. I did have some trouble with this build, and I had to do a lot of placing things down and picking them up over and over, but I think that is something that is needed when doing something creative like this, and if you're not happy with something, why not change it? Speaking of, I decided to take out these flowers and add this planter item. Next, I finally took out the picnic spot and I decided to make a star fragment garden. I wanted to make it look like the fairies are like farming their own pixie dust. I made it super small with some sparkle custom designs, a watering can, and a couple of pieces of fencing. I'm so glad that I changed this part of the build, and it just goes to show if you think you can make something better, you probably can. Then I dropped this ocarina on a log stool as a placeholder for the pan flute and placed a few more custom designs down. I am really happy with this build right now, although I'm sure as I get more items and custom designs I like more, I'll eventually come back to revamp it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really looking forward to making even more cozy content. Bye!